You ever had water before and just thought, that's water.
Yeah.
Man, that's water. You know?
A few different times.
Sometimes you don't even think about it, but sometimes when you take that sip, it's like, without this, I'm not sure I'd be here.
Is this picking up? Is it?
Picking up real good, just like that.
I'm going to be really zenned out. This one's going to lead to some good audio clips of me just like, over here.
That is your sound of Zen.
And that's the sound that I want the fans to make when they listen to us. I just want them to be finding their Zen, and somebody be very confused as to what that freaking sound is.
Don't worry, I'm going to be riffing. On that. Ooh, I'm going to need a bunch of them.
Hey everybody, I am Dane Holland, and this water is quenching every little ounce of thirst I had up until this very point.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and I believe that
Man, that water. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't done.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and this is Nerded to the Grapevine's ASMR episode.
No, it isn't. We're gonna have one.
This
is not it.
Me drinking the most disgusting of the Truly lemonades, the mango.
That's the wind blowing it into your mouth.
It's
Apparently, I don't know why.
truly refreshing if mangoes were farts.
I'm Marcus Whitaker, and I'm Electric Man.
I'm the rooster, and I brought the fire with me tonight. You're welcome.
Okay, I thought it was a little hot in here.
You're welcome.
I burned my finger on that fire.
Oops.
Didn't we all, though, right?
This is Nerded Through the Grapevine. It's a podcast where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And today, Austin's going to learn us something.
I'm going to try to expand some horizons of individuals that may or may not know what specific parts of something is. Say, okay, let me clarify what I'm trying to say. I'm going to tell you.
There's mystery.
I want that one.
There is mystery in being vague, but there's also being too vague.
That is a very popular magazine, and I don't understand why. Hold on, I'm upset. I just found a note from the rooster in my notebook that he had left me, and I haven't read it yet. And I gotta find it again because I think it's...
Would you mind reading it live?
Never trust a fart. Cock-a-doodle-doo. With 6 O's, the rooster.
The kettle just got the water boiling there.
That's what happens. Today I'm going to talk about something that not a lot of people really think about, and that's going to be terpenes.
Okay.
The reason that this got brought to mind is because even though the election is drawing out forever because of all the counting of the votes, and it's understandable, a little bit not standard for the way things normally go, but in 8 different states, they had a change of law to legalize marijuana. And that was something that is historical for the fact that now there are more states to where it is legal than there are states to where it is not. And I wanted to talk about some study.
Let's learn. Let's learn together.
Bum, bum, bum.
So a lot of... And anybody that's ever seen, like, movies to where it's sold, or, I've talked to somebody that's, had it, and they tell you, oh, this is like super sour diesel, man. Oh, this is like rainbow Skittles, man. There's reasons behind names. And the medical effects that these different strains get into are the reasons that a majority of people are starting to open up their eyes to the plant's usefulness. But I wanted to talk about cannabis terpenes, but I got to researching into this and looking into it, and I started noticing that there's a lot of holistic medicine within it that's also used with other herbs as well, that also possess these same terpenes. So they're kind of sought after for their medicinal effects in specific regions, based on what terpene there, is more prevalent in, say, like wheatgrass, or something like potatoes. Like what kind of terpenes are actually present in there that incite a specific reaction in your brain. And it also depicts what flavor and smell and aroma and color that a lot of these plants would have. You've got myrcene, which is featuring, you can find it in thyme, you can find it in mango. It's also in lemongrass. It's made for a calming effect for insomnia, pain, and inflammation. You've got pine, which is a pine. It is a rosemary. You can have it in pine needles, and it's for alertness, and it counteracts something that THC would do.
I could smoke a pine cone.
Well,
That's what I got out of that last part. I could smoke a pine cone.
You could.
no,
Technically.
that's present in a pine needle.
I could smoke a pine needle.
I mean, you can. I'm not saying that you should.
Right, but
I mean, that's a bad idea. I don't.
oh
recommend
yeah,
it.
for sure. That was a good.
Now,
I wouldn't recommend
now,
it. I wanna do it.
now,
I'm saying.
using
Just
pine needles in
saying.
a smoker, maybe pine wood.
Wouldn't poison me.
I think.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Oh, okay. You sound like one right now.
No, I'm just reading what I found.
Oh, okay.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last
No,
night.
you didn't. You live here.
Well, that's what the
Is this
commercial
the
was.
I don't
Holiday
care.
Inn Express.
This is a Hollandane Inn Express.
There is it's called carinophyllin. I can't pronounce that. Carinophyllin. And that is going to be it makes it have that peppery taste to it. That's also something that's going to be present in pepper and cloves and cinnamon. And that is used for stress relief. I just found all this stuff interesting. I mean, I've got a long list of them. I'm going to go through a couple of them, but it's different ailments, different things that it will help to ease and to settle. And a lot of people report that it is, more beneficial to them than opioids have been, because opioids have so many side effects to what they carry along with what they are treating. I mean, that's kind of the cycle of things. You get on a pill, then you get on another pill to treat the pill. But I like the idea of the plant. It's cool.
The all natural
Nature.
approach.
Nature.
Yeah.
Nature. Let's see. There's some that's featured in cumin, and we cook with cumin all the time.
Side note, chili, the only reason that it tastes like chili instead of hamburger meat soup,
Cumin.
That's it.
It's
If you were
secret.
to open a thing of cumin seasoning and you smell it, it's just chili. It's
Oddly-
not chili powder.
No,
oddly
chili
enough.
powder is what gives the color.
Yeah. But cumin makes chili. If you didn't know. What you didn't know, looking by the face that you're making, you didn't know.
You mean like Hormel chili?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that
Well,
just comes from the
homemade.
can. You can just make chili from Hormel by just opening the can.
Whoa, hold on. What was that bubbling noise? Was that
I
you?
think that was his body.
Was that your body?
Was
What?
that from inside of you?
What portion of your body made that noise?
Right?
All of it.
Right in my
It
throat.
traveled.
Right there somewhere.
For the creature inhabiting
That started
rooster,
down deep.
I
It's right
invoke
here.
thee. I invoke the creature inhabiting rooster. It's the fiend.
Maybe
Did it work?
Maybe it's something that a terpene could solve. So all these things that you have mentioned so far are all terpenes, like technically.
Yes. And terpenes are just cannabinoids, and also they're just specific chemicals that are found within different plants, and different botanicals, and also including the marijuana plant.
Huh.
And that's why these different strains have all the different names, because the different names are kind of depicted by what the profiles are. So it's kind of giving you an idea just by reading the name a little bit, like why would it have this name? Well, blue cheese, it's going to have that name because there's like a strong funk to it. That funk's gonna, and then that's a smell. That's
whoa,
honestly
like blues
Right, I was
music.
Like you open up a jar and you smell it, and you just hear like Bootsy Collins just wailing on it, and I knew Bootsy Collins
Man.
before he found the funk.
I would try it if
I'm
that
so
happened.
lost. Y'all lost me.
I'd give.
Wait, you saying they call
I
blue
thought you were
cheese?
saying there was a strain called blue cheese.
There is.
Right.
Oh.
And that's where we got lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were saying the reason blue cheese is called that way is
And then he
because
said,
it's
"You
funky.
smell a jar."
And I was like, blues isn't really considered funky, is it?
But he said blue cheese.
Yeah.
No, it's
We really got it.
no, it's because and the reason that it has a funky smell to it that kind of mixes in. It mixes in with a mixture of mint and a mixture of the let me find it. I think it is terraprenol. That's going to be the fruity smell. So it's got fruit and mint and I'm trying to find the woodsy one on here because I wrote this down. Humulene. So
With an H?
Yes, humulene with an H. So it's something. It's the combination of those three being so prevalent in it that they combine together to have that aroma that gives you that funk, that kind of funky cheese smell.
That.
Yeah,
That's weird.
but when you
That's some cheese.
but when you were to vaporize the contents of it or ingest it, however you would ingest it, you would experience a mental. Not breakdown. Don't think it. It's not that. It's a just kind of a slowdown. It
make me
eases
think
your
it.
mind and relaxes your body.
You ever eat so much blue cheese that you think you might be high?
No, I ate enough blue cheese that I thought I might throw up.
That's-
And you know what happens when you throw up blue cheese? It looks exactly
No.
the same.
Nope.
Oh, he
How
did
do you
it.
think they get blue
Nope.
cheese dressing at
He did it.
restaurants?
We want to paint pictures with their voices. We do
Bob
not want
Ross
to
could
paint.
make that look
We don't want to
very
paint
pretty.
that picture.
You think
with their
Bob
voice.
Ross could take some tartar sauce and turn what?
I'm just gonna say yes.
He'd turn it into just
I'm
like
just gonna
roll
say
it on the
yes.
edge of his knife and make you a mountain with it. Just pull it.
You're just gonna take a little bit of this tartar white,
A little bit of this cyan blue.
this cocktail red will make a really
Here's some,
nice
here's some
sunset.
nuts one of these squirrels I nursed threw up earlier. It's going to be replacing our brown ochre.
What if Bob Ross painted like Tim Burton?
What?
Hold on.
I need an explanation.
Do you think Tim Burton is a painter?
No, but I'm saying like in that style, like that, like
Like animation. Hold on. If you're saying
Bob Ross
so epic.
painted in the style of Tim Burton animations. I'd pay to watch that.
3D animations,
Not 3D.
if
I want 2D.
you
I
want
want
the different art
2D
style.
images that are actually 3D.
I think he's just baffled that we're confused right now.
I am. I don't get that.
You want to see him draw Jack Skellington?
Yeah.
Tim Burton? You want to see Tim Burton draw Jack Skellington?
I mean, that would be just as interesting, I think. Never
With tartar sauce and mustard.
whatever he wants, man.
Okay.
But the need for the names of all these terpenes isn't necessary. I mean, at this point, you know there's a lot of them out there. I'm not going to name every individual one because if you want to get down into it, you're going to also get into the list of cannabinoids that are in there. That's going to be something that's prevalent in different strains for different reasons, for different environments, different temperatures of growth, a lot of different variables. But there is a reason why this is important. And why that's important is whenever you are in a legalized state and have access to this stuff in a legalized form, you're capable of going to a legalized dispensary who hopefully have an intelligent, knowledgeable staff that understand the importance of these terpenes and what role they play in the way that the plant works. So you can go in the store, you say, I have anxiety, I can't sleep at night. They say, okay, you need this. That's the reason.
Absolutely.
And I
agree
just thought,
100%.
I just thought that was kind of a big win for, people that support the idea of that plant being able to help people. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Are we over 25 states?
Yeah, I think there's like 7 left that it's fully illegal. Tennessee is one of them.
Oh, I roll.
I did the eye
Not
roll.
legally.
Oh yeah. I watched
No,
it.
I mean I'll roll that all day.
No, yeah.
Hold on, let me drink some Truly.
Actually, because we're talking about this subject, I've already called the authorities.
They are.
They're supposed to show up 3
And-
hours ago.
They're taking a while because I called the feds. I'm not messing with the local police with this one.
I'm going straight to the
I
top.
can't. This kind of topic needs the
No.
feds.
See, do you want to know why they won't show up? Because he skipped the food chain. You gotta go in order.
Yeah.
They gotta
First, you gotta
know-
call my mother.
They gotta know.
She's at the top.
Because first you call my mother, and then you say, "You will never guess what your son is talking about." He is not. You call the cops on him right now.
Yeah, can't talk about it.
Already done it.
Good.
Got him on speed dial.
Speed dial.
I could hear her through the phone right now. Austin. Yeah.
So your message is terpene good,
terpene good.
Terpene good.
and states are saying, "Hey,
Terpene
terpene good."
States are saying, "Hey, terpene good."
Terpene
Instead
good.
of back in the day with the commercials of terpene's gonna make you go insane.
Terpene bad.
Instead of, "Hey, have some of these terpenes," and then you want to stab somebody to death with a knife.
Right. But that's the
That's
opposite.
bath salts. Don't do bath salts.
I wonder, like, the first person that saw the bath salts in the bathroom
Yes.
and said,
Austin?
I mean, it's not like our mics aren't picking up your laugh.
I'm
Let him
trying
do it.
my best because it's a tea kettle laugh tonight, but I just knew where you were going
Let
with
the
that.
kettle out.
I just
Let the kettle go.
I knew you were going to. I wonder who saw the bath salts in the bathroom and said, "Who's gonna just light this up?"
That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, if you're kind of the person that just puts things in these bowls and puts fire to them and inhales them,
They
I
call
guit
it
if you,
desperation.
yeah,
That's
is that what it
happens.
is?
I use a specific deodorant to prevent that.
Now I have to remember what he said, and
Wait.
I can't do that.
What's the deodorant?
It was a perspiration joke, and you said desperation, so he took desperation and made it perspiration
I
and made a
hijacked your
deodorant
word.
joke. Yeah,
Hijacked your word. That was great.
You rhymed it.
and
Sure.
this is the joke. Laugh track now. Marcus is looking around like, what is going on?
When did we get a laugh track?
Do you think Tennessee will say terpene's good?
I think that.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Well, I think that they will say that in their exact words. Terpene's good. No. Do I think that they'll say, "Hey, Mississippi is our neighbor. They've kind of got a failing economy in a lot of spots. Hey, this is a legal state. Now their economy's starting to rise a little bit, and you're seeing an upward spike in their cash." I think Tennessee would say, "Oh man, hey, you think maybe terpene good?"
I think that's what they're going to say.
So
I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
most, even older people, like up and down the demographic, are for some sort of medical utilization of the stuff.
and that's why I included so many states in the. Whenever I said there's like 7 that it's illegal, that's legitimate in the United States. There are 7 states, and I wish that I would have wrote those down because that would have been awesome. Because I would have been smarter than I am right now.
Yeah.
But not the 7 states. I remember that. But everybody else has it at least available medically, so you can't just go and get it. But you don't have to be prescribed opioids. You don't have to be
Yeah.
prescribed Xanaxes and different benzodiazepams that you get addicted to, and it messes with your brain chemistry for the rest of your life. That's why. Why did those exist when this already existed?
Are any other
Absolutely.
podcasts allowed to talk about marijuana except for Joe Rogan? Like, is this legal?
I haven't said a word about DMT, and I don't have an opinion.
So, is it official Nerded Through the Grapevine call that terpene good?
I believe terpene good. I mean, should we put it to the polls?
We can put the polls at the table.
Yeah, I mean,
I
any
haven't-
kind of drug, if it's like medically viable, we should totally use it. Doesn't mean we all need to, be selling it and smoking everything that we use as medicine. It just means that if there's a medical use, we should allow it to be used that way.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, if doctors are like, hey, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea. Listen to it.
Yeah.
Speaking on the topic of terpenes, it blends well with mine. I'm going to go with video game controllers because I think they have a lot in common. So I just recently got a Switch Pro controller. Normally just using the regular Switch controllers. When it's on the system and you have a grip attached to it, feels fantastic. Outside of the grip, my hands are a little bit big for the thin shape of it. But this Pro controller, for the longest time, I've heard people saying, hey, these controllers are incredible. And I'm like, it's a controller. What? I mean, I've used PlayStation, Xbox, all these other controllers. Like, there's not really a huge difference, except for a little bit of a layout change. Maybe it sits in your hand a little bit, but not a big deal. But that Pro controller is wonderful. I don't think that we do take for granted. That's the phrase, right?
We
When you
do.
take something for granted,
For granted?
that means for granted.
For granted, like The Rock?
Yeah, like the Rock. Okay. Yeah.
Granite Jackson.
No, you're thinking Dwayne Granite Johnson.
No, he meant Granite Jackson, like the one from the Super Bowl with the booby rip. You know Granite Jackson?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's all for you.
The Switch Pro controller is wonderful, and I was trying to think of, like, between controllers of all these systems, have I ever had a favorite before? I haven't really ever considered that because I don't really ever think about it that much. But then I did think about it, and I was like, I want to talk to you guys about that because I guess it does make a difference. Because now they make these custom controllers with like these flip pads in the back and different ways to do all these different layout changes. And just growing up with I had an Atari when I was super little, and then the Nintendo and Sega Genesis, like it's always been just one controller until we got to about, I'm trying to think, what system do you think it was that started to come out with weird controllers?
GameCube had a really weird one. And N64.
The N64.
Yeah, like those two would be like the first like joystick like in the center of the pad, right?
PlayStation
That was the
2.
N64. PlayStation 2.
PlayStation
PlayStation 2
2.
it felt good.
It
But
did,
then
it had that first configuration that I can remember of the like the R1, R2, L1, R2. You know.
Oh, the double tree or the
Yeah.
I still don't know how to hold a controller like that, like the claw grip or whatever,
Yeah.
where you're using
the claw.
like 2 fingers. Yeah. Do you hold one like that?
I think so, yeah.
Do you? No,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I have to have only one finger up there up top, so
Yep.
I can't really
So-
utilize those as well as they can be used. But
Well,
then
it
like
depends on the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends on
the
if
game.
you need it or not.
yeah, that's
Football
true.
games, I only need one because I
Right.
only had to hit one
Yeah.
button.
Yeah.
Same with like a sports game.
Yeah.
You typically only need
Most
one.
of them, but anyway, like
Fighting game.
and like third party controllers would come out and now there are tons of different third party controllers, but they never stack up to the actual manufactured one, like designed for the system.
Yeah.
But now, like these pro, like quote unquote pro versions of these controllers, like you wouldn't think they would be much different looking at them, but then as soon as you get one in your hand, like the buttons click differently, like the way it rests in your palm, like the size of it is just slightly different. And whenever you're playing a game for 3 or 4 hours sometimes, that's a low ball for some games like Hades that we were talking about last week, but yeah, like it makes a huge difference, like for your hand not cramping up. And I don't know, like, do you guys have a favorite controller? Because I think that Pro controller might be my favorite.
Super Nintendo. For sure.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's very flat.
Yeah, I loved it.
Really?
The turbo one, where you could flick a button and all you had to do is hold it and you didn't have to hit a button.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. You never had one of those?
No.
So, like Mario, you
Yes.
just hold the jump button,
Okay.
but it would constantly hit it. So you just jump the whole time.
So the turbo mode, when you
You
hold
would
it
turn
down,
it
it
on.
acts like it's just pressing
Just-
it over
yep.
and over
Some
and over
games
again.
where you had to like do stuff like that, like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Turn it on and you're just.
You just spam punches
button.
because you can do
Just
it
hold it
faster
down.
than anybody can. That's cheaty.
Oh yeah.
What about the Game Genie that was in the Super Nintendo? You remember those?
Wasn't it a Game Shark that you would put in? What was it? A Game Genie?
Game Shark started for me with the discs, not the plugs.
You're talking about cheat codes.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about controllers.
I'm sorry, I just was jumping on that.
That's fine.
I mean,
we can talk about those if you want.
Mine's the same as yours anyway.
Same? The Pro controller?
Yes.
Just because, yeah.
Oh, I noticed that I have played that game since I've started with it, probably 20 hours worth of gameplay.
Yeah.
And I've only been playing it for what? 2.5, 3 weeks?
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of holding one controller.
And my hands have not gotten tired. My arms aren't tired from it. It's just ergonomically correct, and it's easy to operate, and it's perfectly spaced, and it's lightweight, but not like too light to where it's like brittle. Yeah. It's good.
Game or battery life too.
Oh, yeah. I played that sucker for probably, 8 hours straight. Just of heavy, just...
I'm not focusing on anything else besides what's happening inside of this game today. I'm going to beat this game. I'm going to beat this game. I beat this game.
I gotta beat the game again.
What am I going to do now?
So I had to take a day for me. It was a me day. You need those sometimes.
Yeah.
I took a me day.
Man, I'm partial to the PlayStation. I mean, every one they've ever put out, for me, has just gotten better and better and better, and that's all I've really had. Like, I've never really owned an Xbox or anything else, really.
Yeah.
I mean, but before, like, PlayStation 1 and 2. But before that, like, the N64, remember that controller? That controller was weird.
It was really
with that
weird.
single Z button on the back of it.
Yeah, and then that horrible joystick, that terrible little thing, it would just snap off.
Yeah.
And then those sticky yellows, like up at the top, they would always just that just had this horrible sound. And then you had your D-pad on the left.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 big like handles on the thing.
You
That was a
don't-
weird guy.
You don't know how good a controller is until you've held a bad one.
Right. And with the new generations,
Everybody
like with
woke up after
PlayStation, they've
that.
always upped it up just a little bit, but kept it so simple and the same that it's just like it's this classic, but yet new and innovative, if you will, at the same time. It's
In
awesome.
64 with those rumble packs, that made it just absolutely unbearable to play a video game. Like those suckers made the thing weigh like 2.5 pounds, and when they actually did work the right way, it's like
Let's see. Some people are complaining with the newest Xbox, the Series X and the Series S, that the controller hasn't really changed since the Xbox 360, and that's because they kind of figured it out. They're like, why
change it?
Why change it?
It's perfect.
Everyone is so. It really is. Like
It is.
The size of it. Like not
layout.
any part of it has really changed at all. But they've made some of the buttons a little bit better, like as far as like a click as opposed to kind of a mushy kind of feel. But that's just the internals. Like the externals, like if you were to hold those up to each other, like they're insanely similar. And PlayStation,
it's about time.
messed it up. You mentioned PlayStation. The DualShock controller it didn't change very much from the PS3 and the PS4, but have you seen the newest one for the
But they feel better.
PS5?
The PS4s are just
They
much
do.
more durable, that much more like upgraded. Like the
yeah.
triggers were a little bit better, and then now they have did they have the touchpad in the middle
Yes.
on the 3
Or
as
no,
well?
not on the 3.
So yeah,
It's only the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, there's what more can you like do with it? I mean,
Not-
like if you had a whole keyboard, I mean, there's obviously other things you can do, but
Right.
to make it a playable like experience,
Yeah.
I just don't know how much better. You
Well,
can get
and you
than
mentioned the touchscreen on the PS4 controller. Like, not many games that I've ever played have really utilized that thing. I
Not
mean,
very
it's,
well,
It's
no.
a touchpad on a game controller that none have ever had before that I can think of.
that. Yeah, I can't think of many good uses of it either.
I never had a Dreamcast. I don't know what their gap was for.
And you know what else?
It's a little screen.
Remember the Kinect and what was PlayStation's version of the Kinect?
Move. PlayStation Move.
Those never really panned out, did
No.
they?
Oh
Not really.
man, on PS3 with those little joystick things you had, that had a disc golf game on it that was absolutely accurate.
See, that's what I'm saying. It seems like there could be some really cool like games made just with that technology, like.
The PS3
But I mean, I'm
disc
sure it's pretty shoddy.
I think it helped pave some of the way for VR controls. Not really for the headsets, but for like the little controllers you have in your hand, because like the Wiimote, that's one that I wasn't even thinking of. Like the Wiimote was incredible for the games that they were specified for, because as soon as you had to turn it on its side and use it like that, it was really weird. But games that involved motion, like they were shaped perfectly. And then the Move had that like kind of circular shape to it, and it works really well. But I think those kind of paved the way for things like the Oculus Rift controllers and stuff like that.
Plus, with like augmented reality and things like that, like we may not need controllers when games like come out for
yeah.
stuff like that. Like when that kind of technology is integrated so well, Like you are the controller, like in the way that the Kinect marketed themselves, like you are the controller, But that we see that didn't pan out. But like, man, when that stuff comes in, you literally will be.
Has VR gotten better than what the PSVR was?
Yeah. And I mean, the PlayStation VR was fine. It just
I don't remember ever playing a game on it that you had that was like, oh man, this is so immersive.
I think that was the game's fault.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the actual like controller's fault, I guess you could say, in the headset and stuff. But now there are plenty of games like the newest Half-Life game that people have been waiting for years. It became a meme. They've been waiting so long for the new Half-Life since Half-Life 2. And it's called Half-Life Alyx, and it was a VR game. Like and a lot of people bought VR systems to play this one game, and that's crazy. And I mean, it looks pretty cool, but as a guy with glasses, like VR is kind of weird for me. With the Oculus Rift, the newest one, what I hate about it is Facebook bought it to where now like you have to have a Facebook account to even use the Oculus.
They want to know.
Yeah. What do they want to know, Rooster?
They want to know what you're watching.
Yeah. And they're watching me, watching them.
And what if by watching them,
No.
and they watch us watching them,
No.
they're able to infiltrate our minds?
No.
And the only way we can protect
No,
ourselves
don't say it.
is with the Neuralink.
They could do it.
That's him walking through the desert with nothing but a Neuralink in his hand.
You mentioned mouse and keyboard. Have you ever tried to use one of those for games? Any of you? I don't know if
a
any
long
of
time
you.
ago.
I mean, for a computer, I have.
I mean, I have not done
nothing
much
else.
gaming on like PC or anything like
Yeah.
that. But I do remember back in the day, me and my friend used to play Wolfenstein. But I would do the arrows while he just like used the mouse to click and shoot. And we had fun doing that.
Yeah.
Like I was just running around, like strafing and dodging, or diving behind cover while he got to kill everybody.
Using a mouse is like it's almost so accurate that it's really hard. There's a learning curve there because it responds so quickly to exactly where you want it to go that you're not used to it. You don't realize how much more effort it takes with a gaming controller to get where you want to go with the thumbsticks compared to a mouse. Like there's no comparison to it. But what's cool is while you're trying to get that learning curve down, like I am, because I've not been PC gaming for very long, is I've got an Xbox controller. I can hook it up to my PC and use that for games. Something like Rocket League, I have to use a controller with that. Like using mouse and keyboard is nearly impossible for me. So I just won't do it.
Yeah,
but I don't
Shooter
know, man.
games.
I don't know.
First-person shooters
No,
are
yeah,
probably
shooters. Everyone
the
needs
best
to use
thing,
mouse
yeah.
and keyboard
because it's just click.
you have so much of an advantage being able to do that. But I don't know. I just thought like game controllers aren't something I've ever really thought much about. I've always just used them, and I've held them in my hands for days worth of time, weeks worth of time, and when you add it all up, like
Months.
of the hours, months worth of time throughout my whole life. And what'd you just word with your mouth?
Years.
Oh,
He said,
Rooster.
Multiple years.
That I just want to talk about it out loud because I don't know. Interesting to me. Maybe only
Yeah.
me.
I'm
No,
just
no,
glad
it
that
is
we
interesting.
progressed past the Xbox Ones, not the Xbox One, because that was a
No,
thing.
that was a thing. That was a different thing.
Okay. How about OG Xbox?
OG Xbox.
How about that? How about that black satanic brick that they
Call
made
it
you?
the Xbox.
Okay. How about the Xbox controller?
See?
Yeah.
I wasn't
was-
a fan.
It was
360 was amazing.
It was a lot better, but that
Loved it.
original one was just and how
Massive.
big the
It's
too
box-
big, yeah.
Like my grandparents had one of those humongous TVs that had like the wooden sides to them that everybody's grandparents probably had.
I had one.
And the Xbox took up the majority of the top of it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like a car engine.
Yeah.
You could power it up, push that big green button.
Almost sounded like a lightsaber.
No, I didn't vroom hard enough.
I know.
That's
So, me and my friend have been watching this show together. It's one of those shows that, like, you scroll through on Netflix, and you're just like, never watching that.
And then you did.
But it's like I was lying to myself. I knew I was going to have to watch it. I mean, because it's like right up my alley. It's high fantasy. Like I've got to see it.
What is it?
Ooh. What is it?
It's called The Shannara Chronicles.
Okay.
See, MTV makes this show.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like,
Well,
I'm not going to watch that.
yeah, MTV making anything fantasy is a
Hilarious.
fallacy.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's part of like, the fun of like, hey, I kind of want to watch something I think I'm going to hate just to like talk trash. But then there's like these elements of it that just you can't help but like. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And so it's like, I don't know, it's a guilty pleasure, I guess you could call it.
Like him and the Kardashians. Like, that's a
Yeah.
similar situation.
But plus it's just like such straightforward in a way storytelling, that it's just like anybody can kind of get behind it. You know what's going to happen. And so you can talk about it in such a way. I don't know. Me and my friend could just like to watch it together just so we can like make jokes about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very derivative of the genre. And then plus they add all the teeny, like superficial, like romances that, are pretty cringeworthy. But then they have these gnarly, this is how I use the word gnarly, demons.
That's a good way.
And they are actually pretty dadgum gnarly. I mean, they're pretty on the nose, like, yeah, okay, it's a demon. Like, it looks like a demon. But they're so, like, committed to using this gnarly demon that it kind of becomes creepy. Like he starts like there's this one shapeshifter lady that comes up to the head demon that just escaped the tree. Because actually, I want to talk to you about this too. Because I remember you told me you read the books when you were in high school. So it's based off a book series as well that gained popularity in like the 70s or so. What's his name? Brooks? Terry Brooks.
Terry Brooks.
Yeah. So he became pretty famous writing that series, and I think he's still writing today.
There's
He
a lot
became
of
a
books in that.
he became a
era.
sports broadcaster sometime after that, I think.
I've never heard of him.
Are you thinking about Terry Bradshaw? I think you're thinking Terry Bradshaw. You think Terry Bradshaw wrote the Shannara Chronicles?
Man, now I've got
I
a
don't
whole
even
new
know,
look.
I don't even know if Terry Bradshaw could write Terry Bradshaw.
If you're out there, send us your name, handwritten. I want a video to prove it.
No, I got this.
Do you think if you were watching it alone, it would be something you would continue doing? Like if you started watching the series alone instead of with your friend,
Well, I
to be able
actually
to
did
poke
start
fun?
watching it alone. Had so much fun trashing on it and being surprised at times that I'm just like, oh, there's that actor from, my friend said, there's that actor from, gosh, what's that show? It was like a...
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that's the show
Oh,
he
the
was
cartoon-
probably
the
talking
cartoon
about.
Spartacus.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And
Little
he's
Mermaid,
like,
Spartacus.
so he's like the wizard, right? Who like is actually kind of an epic character. First time you see him, he wakes up on this altar, frozen, and the ice starts melting and like starts going away, and it's like, what the crap? Come to find out he's been gone for 30 years, ever since the last war or whatever. Everybody thought that magic had kind of died out. And I don't really want to spoil anything, but I'm going to spoil something. So it's like at other times, like he kind of has these moments where he maybe dies, but it's like he kind of is this druid, I guess is what they call him. And he like has these weird ways of coming back when he's needed or something. I don't know. It was interesting. But I don't know. It's fun to trash it, and it's also fun to kind of like enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah. I wonder if those
Those
parts that
demons are
you're
gnarly.
I wonder if the parts you're enjoying are the parts that are actually from the writing, and the parts you don't
I
enjoy
can't
are the
imagine
MTV
it would be
flavored version.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never read the books.
It's been a very long time since I've read them. I remember when I first started reading them, it reminded me a lot of The Hobbit, the ones that I was reading, because like it was about halflings. It was like the same.
Yeah, see, there's no halfling in the show.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, it's just. I think they focused on with the elf stones or something. Is that right? And that's one of the books. So like it's just
It's basically
they kind of skipped the beginning and just jumped right to like where like the elf story.
And see, that's what I'm saying. It's farm boy
Yeah,
gets
it's-
magic elf stones, goes on adventure, meets girl who has MacGuffin, take to Bad
Yeah.
Place and win.
Very
It's-
difficult to figure out. As
Yeah,
far as,
I mean it's
Cliche. to
right,
the
but that's
max.
why at the same time I think some people would probably enjoy it.
Sounds like every season of Supernatural.
Yeah, the MacGuffin. You've got to have a MacGuffin.
What is a MacGuffin for those who wouldn't know what a
I
MacGuffin is? Because
was
I
thinking
know
about that.
exactly what one
Well, then
is.
you should
but
define it.
someone else probably doesn't.
Well, you should probably define it.
I
then.
bet your definition, because mine's probably too complicated. I don't think that my definition of a MacGuffin would be able to be dumbed down enough to where someone else would understand it. So I really need you to explain for our listeners, because I know what MacGuffin is, but I want you to say what it is.
No, McMuffin.
Oh, the sandwich.
Yeah.
yeah, 2 for 1.
Okay.
I like
1 for 2.
sausage McMuffins.
Sausage egg.
Because the meat's the
Good.
same size as the bread.
McGriddle, though. See, McGriddle. I used to be a McGriddle guy, and then when they got too sweet to me, the McMuffin was definitely the way to go because the chewy bread. I went from being young and hating chewy bread to now that I'm old. If you give me some charcuterie and it's got some bread with some nice tough rind on the outside of it with some of the cheese, like I want the chewy bread on the charcuterie board.
Get some sourdough.
Some chewy
I
bread.
can do that. I can
you
get
some
some
See how
sourdough.
easy it is to dodge a question.
Chewy
What was the
bread.
question?
Easy. I don't even
Oh,
remember.
dadgummit.
It was what a MacGuffin. What was a MacGuffin?
Oh, well, what's a MacGuffin?
And I just threw it out there and actually started laughing when it caught on so well. I knew it would.
I don't know
y'all
what a
would take
MacGuffin
that.
is. I, I'm honest about this.
I don't know how to define it, but I mean, like the ring in Lord of the Rings is a MacGuffin. The Infinity Gauntlet is somewhat of a MacGuffin.
Is it an item that's a crucial part of the story?
It's a crucial part of the plot. It's like the plot. The plot is the MacGuffin. We have to get the MacGuffin. Like football. In football, the ball is the MacGuffin.
So Harry Potter was the MacGuffin.
No.
I don't know. I
No.
don't know.
The 7 deadly sins were.
That was an anime that
No.
I watched.
What's the MacGuffin in Shannara?
Well, it's like okay, so the world is like an elven world. Like all these. Oh my God, we didn't even get to the ear jokes. They're obsessed with ears.
Okay.
So in these, so one of them's a half elf, and so they make fun of him. They call him short tips, right? They wear ear armor on the show. There's people that like they have their little pointy elf ears, and there's certain elves like put little armor over their little earlobes.
Is it like an erotic thing to where if
I'd
they're
have no idea.
exposed, like
Well,
people just
it
get
becomes an
super
erotic
horny?
thing because they all call him short tips. Oh, hi, short tips. You're a half elf, not a true elf, you know. But then this human woman like kind of seduces him and like takes advantage of him because to steal his elf stones, and she like he's like asleep, like completely asleep, just like ugh, like afterwards, and she comes in.
Is that a post-coital groan? Because you need to seek medical attention. Young man.
The sound,
Wow.
the sound of being very asleep is
Well, it's not just very asleep. This is a
No, it is
particular
not.
state of sleep and
Right
hibernation
after
for
you
a
steal
man.
the elf
And so
stones.
and then she like kisses him on the cheek. She says, "I'll never call you short tips again."
because wiener.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, but there's just countless ear jokes,
Okay.
which are just so kind of.
I don't like
Cheesy.
the way that sounds because
He
what if
instant-
he's not got like a short...
He instantly became long tip. Right
Oh my gosh.
Oh, looks like a
From that point
snapdragon.
on, he just became long tips.
And there's just and you know the guy from Mortal Kombat 2, Raiden.
Of course I do.
Mortal Kombat 2, Raiden. The guy that played Raiden in Mortal Kombat 2 is like this human rogue kind of character in the show, and they're like hungry, and he says, "I'm so hungry I could eat a troll's left nut." That was another good line I heard on that one. So yeah, it has its moments
He
of
ad-libbed
like,
that in there. Yeah. He just ad-libbed that line. He's like, I'm going to get this in this show one way or
yeah, one way or another. I'm getting this line in
They
there.
just left it in there. Just
They told me Raiden was too cool and I could never make that character look like a wuss. Well, I proved them wrong and they paid me $4 million. I told them that I could get on a television show produced by Music Television
actually,
and say a troll's left nut, and I would eat it. And they paid me $15 million.
It's like $20 million to play a bad
And
Raiden.
actually, one of the writers on the show was involved with Smallville, writing Smallville. I thought y'all would
Okay.
think
Sam
that was a
Raimi?
little interesting. Mm-hmm.
That
So,
makes
yeah.
Austin happy.
Makes me happy too.
I did enjoy Smallville. I messed it all up.
You messed that whole.
I enjoyed
transition up.
Smallville. Well,
Yeah.
I started talking at a weird part of my breath. I mean, it is what it is.
Mid breath. That's what we call it.
I'm down to one last breath.
Lois and Clark.
The Avengers of Superman
That was a show that was on television.
with Dinkin.
Dinking.
Dinkin.
Duncan?
Dinkin.
Dinking Superman.
I remember
Superman.
this one episode that like the thing that was happening this week was like there was this piece of music that every time anybody heard, they would just start dancing like uncontrollably. They couldn't stop dancing. And that was a really fun episode to watch.
That
of
was
Lois and
actually
Clark.
the world premiere of the first produced album that Creed had from the from the
Man,
studios.
what if they remade Weekend at Bernie's?
With
It was
Creed?
Creed music that kept.
Can you take me higher? And you just got some strings on some limbs, just to a place. Flicking
now-
my arms right now. I'm flicking my arms right now.
Now you got me kind of wanting to watch the show
Yeah.
because laughing at how bad it is. But then again, I don't know.
But then all of a sudden you'll be laughing at just how like straightforward and kind of cheesy this is. But then the next thing you know, a demon's coming in to rip somebody's apart.
Yeah.
Like there's that element of it that's actually kind of cool. But
It's
you just
random
you've
with
got,
it.
Yeah.
It's very random with it.
Yeah.
But what with high fantasy, like sometimes it's just too much for like even me to get into sometimes because I'm like, man, I don't have time to learn this entire universe.
Oh yeah. You don't
But
have
something
any of
like
that.
this, it's
No.
like you want some fantasy.
No, dude,
but
it's a
very-
tree. It's this ancient elven tree that's dying, but the elven tree is kind of like a spirit siphon. It's like where they trapped the demons when they defeated them, and so now the tree's dying, and it chooses a successor by giving them its seed.
from its short tips.
Next to
There's
the
a
elf stone.
seed. This is the MacGuffin. The seed from the tree that like has to be replanted. So this El Crease is what they call it, is dying. So each time a leaf falls, a demon is released into the world.
Oh, cool.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Sounds a lot worse than the butterfly effect.
Hold on. I just remember that song Oasis.
Oh, from the movie, the
Yeah,
butterfly
yeah,
effect.
yeah.
I was talking about the actual butterfly effect. You said when a leaf falls from the tree, the demon's released into the world. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
a lot worse than a butterfly flaps its wings and a tsunami happens. That's
Yeah, and then like I said, in that first episode, they released like the first leaf fell from the tree, and they released this gnarly demon called the Dogdamor, and it was like it immediately raised like these stalactites out of the ground or whatever, and like created this barrier over him so the druid couldn't like detect him, and then summons this shapeshifter to immediately send into their courts. The guy that played Gimli in Lord of the Rings is the king of the elves, which I thought was strange. He's
Yeah,
just a
that's
dwarf.
right.
Yeah, I want him to be a dwarf, but
He's a
that's
dwarf.
just me. No, I don't know. It's so strange. I can't put my finger on why. I mean, obviously I'm a fantasy nerd. That's why I watched it. And I don't know, kind of made me want to read the books.
I'll let you borrow.
Oh, you still have them?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
It's one big book. It's like that big. Not joking.
Apparently he's
Really
still
is.
writing them.
It's a trilogy in one book, so it'd be like 3 Game of Thrones books smashed together.
That's just too big of a book to hold at once,
Yep.
though.
You don't hold it.
That's what makes
Read
it
it
feel
like
like
your
this
Bible.
magic tome. You know?
Reading the pages.
so. What was that thing's name again? The demon that was first released.
The Dogdamor.
The Burninator. Burninating the countryside.
But there's this, like, he summons this shapeshifter, and they're, like, getting kind of, like, weirdly sexual with each other, and they're like this, he's a demon, and he looks horrible, and he starts, like, licking her face, and you're just like, what am I watching?
There's the MTV for
So
it.
Yeah,
he
it's
strong
weird,
back.
man.
You've
summoned
fallen so
a
far.
sex slave.
Kind of, it's because she comes up to him and she goes, I have chosen the form that tells me that would please you the most. Like, I don't know. It's weird,
Huh.
man.
Yeah, that's the MTV portion.
Yeah.
for
Watch
sure.
it when you want just kind of mindless, comedic, fantasy entertainment.
I'm sure I'll find
If you
myself
want to see
there
some
very soon.
demons rip some people apart every now and then, in between some like hot,
Elf on elf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short tip on long tip.
That's a lot better than
Yeah.
Elf on the Shelf.
Thank you for
Speaking
that.
of Elf on the Shelf,
Yeah.
What's
I'll
your
talk
topic,
about
Rooster?
elves, but no dwarves. Yeah, no dwarves. No dwarves.
It's 2020.
rural.
The Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5. That's what I want to talk about. Elder Scrolls.
I immediately heard the music in my head. Dovah-Keen, Dovah-Keen, dun, 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 dun.
You actually spoke about it
Me?
a while back. You did.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You talked about
okay.
how you just like building characters and nothing
yeah.
else.
I remember doing that
Yeah.
and saying this.
How many characters do you think you've built? Ooh.
Double digits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under
double
20?
Yeah, probably under 20.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 or
Oh,
13.
are you looking at me for that same question?
Shazam.
I'm not him. No. I have 4 core characters with different playing styles, and I max them out as quickly as possible
Do you beat the game?
every time.
Oh, well.
But I choose a different path for the way that I got towards the end of the game.
Different armor, different everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say about 4.
4?
3 or 4, yeah. 2 or 3 that I really put a lot of time into. But
Max out.
See, I got so sidetracked, like building my homestead. Like I wanted to have just the most epic wizard like castle out in the middle of the woods. You know where they put your little home. What did they call that little expansion?
Oh, there's ton. I mean,
Yeah, well, when they had the one where you could ride dragons and were a vampire.
Oh, Elder Scrolls Oregon Trail.
that would be amazing.
Elder
That would be
Scrolls
amazing.
Dysentery.
And then they had the one where you could build your home, like out
Yeah. It was
I
called
can't remember.
Hearth.
That's what I was thinking.
Hearth.
Hearthstone or something.
No,
Hearthfire.
Hearthfire.
Hearth-
Hearthfire.
Hawthorne Heights.
Hearthstone
See,
is a card
yeah.
game.
I role play a little too hard sometimes, and I'm just like,
keep that
well,
in the bedroom.
I've got to build my staging place. You know, I gotta have wild magical parties out in the woods at night.
With the Hawthorne Heights expansion pack.
Hawthorne.
That would be.
Got my wrist black my eyes.
Did you ever play with any mods? Did you ever get any? Not crazy ones. Not Thomas the Train mods.
No, I didn't have. No, there was one that you could make all the dragons, Macho Man Randy Savage dragons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I saw some that were like just adding Star Wars things or like things from Game of Thrones.
I did the Death Star Moon. I
Yeah,
played an
that's
entire
so
game with that.
awesome.
I built a
That's
Jedi
so
type character
cool.
The
and did the. It was a constructed Death Star throughout the entire thing. So you just seen like people flying up to it throughout the whole.
I only did the
Loved
fast,
it.
like the fast leveling mods. Those are the only ones that I ever
Cheater.
I never did any mods.
did. No,
Cheater.
the
the only one.
the only mods I ever used only added to the game but kept it true to its universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't mix and match thing, like throw Star Wars in there or whatever, because I knew I would get bored of that really quickly. Because that cool factor I think would probably wear off pretty fast. But the things I would add would like the forests in the game they're kind of sparse. Like they're not very. It's not very thick woods.
You got the dense.
But you can
foliage.
add dense foliage to the game, and it like
Makes
triples.
Crazy how
the-
amazing that
makes
is.
the landscape incredible
Yeah,
looking.
like it's already an extremely immersive game just because the dialogue and all the missions and the landscape too. But it's amazing how much it does for the game whenever you just make the forest more dense, and the trees taller. I would add like some water effects because the original water effects were not very good for the game.
The river and lake.
Yeah.
There was a mod for that, and it made the when the rivers would hit the stone, it would give that
Little
like,
splash
spray-
up.
Yeah.
And some character customization mods too, to where you can really get in there and move around like face bone structure and stuff. But then the issue comes whenever you have something that's malfunctioning in the game and you go to your mods to figure out which ones may be causing the problem, and you've got 20 mods installed. No clue which one of those is doing it. And I'm sure there's some way, if you're a coder or something, you can get in there and find the mess up, but I'm nothing like that. So it is a nightmare as soon as you have a situation to where like a character's glitching out that you have to get a main quest from and you can't do it. And no matter what you're trying with your mod. There was a time I turned off all the mods and got back into the game, but I couldn't get to that point because the previous mods I had installed were part of me getting there to begin with. So it was a nightmare, and I probably had a little over 20 hours into that like character in that game, and I just kind of had to start over. And eventually I just deleted all the mods altogether. But I mean, I'll go back to doing it, but I've got to set myself a limit because it is so easy to get out of hand.
There's like 7 mods that you can get that are meant to go together. Mm-hmm. There's the river one, right. Rivers, lakes, and streams. The weather, where it's like more intense weather. Mm-hmm. What was the other one you said?
Faster leveling.
No faster leveling. That's
now the expanded level trees.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it branched out to so many different ways you could build your character.
And when you tag them both together, you don't gotta wait so long for Christmas.
No, see,
I saw a teleporting gun on that game before. Serious, like a literal looked like a little ray gun.
Yeah,
and wherever you shot, your character would end up there.
What would you name that gun? I'd name him Ronald.
Ronald Gun?
Ronald Ray Gun. Because that's a really funny joke. And here we have the second laugh track.
We're all looking.
There it was.
We're all looking. We didn't see it.
I didn't see anything.
It'll be there.
He's not happy.
I didn't hear anything.
Don't you worry.
I used to fly in Morrowind. That was a complicated time because that was
all you had to do is just jump a lot.
No,
that was Morrowind, right?
You didn't jump a lot into this.
You had a jumping ability, right?
Yes.
You leveled it up.
Yes.
And when you got max, like you could jump really, really far.
There was a cheat for that as well that you could
do. The cheat, you would jump from like city to city, but you could jump really far with the max health, right? Or a max jump, right? Am I thinking wrong?
I don't know, man. I didn't play. Skyrim was the first Elder Scrolls game I ever played.
I'm thinking wrong.
I think
I've
it was
heard
the case
more
for a
of
lot
them
of people.
so good, but to me, it's just like I see it. I'm like, well,
Oblivion was a lot.
Why would
of
I
fun.
not just put it in Skyrim?
Yeah.
Because
it's just a crappier version of it. I mean, but at the time, though, that was like mind blowing because at that same time there were 2 games that I would play, and that would be Grand Theft Auto Vice City,
epic,
and that game, and there was a PlayStation 2. And the Xbox.
That hasn't changed much because Grand Theft Auto 5 keeps coming out on new systems, and so does Skyrim. Like those 2 games, just like that when you were playing then, like they cannot die.
They've suckered us in.
They really have. And
what
I think
Rockstar and Bethesda, or who makes the
Bethesda?
Yeah, that's the 2.
Which is now owned by Disney.
Bethesda?
Oh gosh,
Rockstar.
Microsoft owns Bethesda now.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Right?
He didn't say that.
No, but I'm right? You're
right.
Microsoft owns Bethesda? Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think Skyrim would still be as played as it is without mods? Do you think if it's still vanilla Skyrim, it would still be played as much
because
as
I think with Morrowind, I think that's what blew it up was the modding that came with it. Because I remember people building like entire cities, like everything. I mean, you can actually download a mod right now for Skyrim where you can go build your own city. Like it gives you this big land, and you go build a city.
See, I could get into something like
you
that.
would love it because
I would get obsessed with that.
What is it like, Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Dude, but with orcs,
like a fantasy city
and elves.
I like the sound of this already. Do you get to ride on your own roller coasters in that
You
place
get to ride a
too?
dragon that flies like you remember the ones that you would get on at the carnival, the little dragon one.
The one that had the single track with the one hill.
No, the dragon one.
That was a dragon one.
No.
What dragon are you talking about? Because the only dragon I can remember was the one on the single track.
You asked. Don't shake your head at me.
Damn it.
Brewster, thanks for talking about Skyrim.
We need it.
We needed it.
We need a Skyrim.
And now
book.
I feel like I
Elder
played it.
Scrolls Online stuff.
Nah,
Don't talk
that
about it,
sucks.
please.
I don't want to talk about that.
He wanted to talk about it. I told him.
Yeah,
no.
but what we're going to talk about instead is going to Twitter at Nerd Grapevine and following us there and interacting with us, giving us ideas of things to talk about, linking us to your podcast or a friend's podcast or something like that. Like we have friends that have a podcast called Nightmare Town. It's one word. And another one called Haunt Her, I Barely Know Her. I know Halloween's over with, but everybody's still just really fiending for some spooking, right? You're gonna get some spooking. Those are two good ways. Two good ways to get a spooking.
The spookies have had a rise in people wanting to actually listen to them because 2020's dulled the senses of most folks.
Like, oh, okay, so the people, 25 people were axe murdered here? I'll watch about this.
That's what they say when they watch.
Who got axe murdered?
No one. We're also on Instagram as well. You can see little clips of each of our episodes on there.
3 seconds long.
No, they're like 30 seconds long.
30?
Yes.
We're talking about his attention span.
Yeah, I know, and you're really taking me off of it. We'll be back next Monday around the same time for us to talk about some more stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. And Rooster, when life gives you grapes...
You watch football? No. Oh.
Stop!
This concludes our ASMR episode.
This was not it! We're going to have one, and this is not it.
And I hope you've enjoyed your time with us.